We are back in the shed to talk about Harley Motors, specifically the Milwaukee 8 and the Evolution. Still cold in Ohio. There's snow still everywhere. But we got some of the bikes out, and I've got questions from some people asking me to go over both motors. So that's what I'm going to do. Let's state the obvious that everyone knows. A stock Milwaukee 8 motor and a stock Evolution motor, the Milwaukee 8 is going to be smoother and it's going to have more power. But does that mean it's more reliable? No, it doesn't. Does that mean that the case surrounding the Milwaukee 8, the frame and everything else, is cooler or nostalgic like the Evo? No. But which one's better? It's the Evolution. Here's a quick summary on Google of the Evolution. It was introduced in 1984, and it's a 45-degree V-twin. It's known for revolutionizing reliability, featuring all aluminum construction. It's very important. The heads and cylinders. It's better cooling and lighter weight. It effectively eliminated chronic oil leaks, is what it says, which is true because the shovel heads leaked, pan heads leaked. They just were known for that. It says they got improved heat management via improved combustion and offered increased power, often utilizing a single camshaft with push rods. And that single cam design is part of the reason why these Evos are so reliable in the first place. There's no plastic tensioners in them. They're gear driven. No parts to break off. Like the twin cams, they had those plastic tensioners in the 88s. And not to mention with the twin cams, the early 88s, the cranks were just way off. But, well, early 88s, they were still hand done. But then when they went to machine or robotics, putting the cranks in, they were off a bunch. The Evos were all done by hand. All right. So, performance. The Evos had increased power from the shovel heads. Well, they had an 80 shovel and an 80 Evo. But still, increased power and torque across the speed range compared to the shovel. Capable of using lower quality fuel as well, which is important. The lifters and valve train utilized hydraulic lifters for maintenance-free operation. That was fantastic. Aluminum construction, the single cam, gear-driven, no plastic parts, no unnecessary parts at all in these motors. And another thing about them, they were super easy to work on. Like anybody with a basic tool set could go out in their garage or shed or whatever and fix whatever issue they had. The rocker gaskets, super easy to replace. I mean, the maintenance is just incredibly easy on them. Now we're going to get into the Milwaukee 8. And I'm going to take this summary from Google because I can't remember all this and I can't speak as well as Google. I'm just dumb hillbilly. All right, the Harley Davidson Milwaukee 8 engine. It's a 45-degree V-twin, available in the 107, 114, 117, and 121 cubic inch. Key features include 4 valve cylinder heads, 8 in total, dual spark plugs, and a single chain-driven camshaft that reduces weight. Chain-driven, not gear-driven camshaft. It's going to play into it later. And it reduces engine noise. It produces 10% more torque, offers superior heat management, and utilizes an internal counterbalancer to eliminate 75% of primary idle vibration. The M8s do vibrate less than the Evos. That's just a fact. 4 valve heads, 50% higher flow capacity, dual spark plugs per cylinder. I don't know if you knew that. 2 spark plugs per cylinder. The performance and torque, improved torque over previous generations, talking about twin cam, with the M8 117 producing 125 foot-pounds of torque at 3,500 RPM. That's a lot of torque. Here it says design and simplicity. Single cam, they went back to a single cam from the twin cam, which in my opinion is great. Chain-driven camshaft. Lighter, less complex than the twin cam. Vibration reduction. Internal counterbalancer provides a smoother, less eyeball shaking experience at idle. That's true. I've rode M8 motorcycles. They do not vibrate nearly as much as a lot of the twin cams, and especially a lot of the Evos that I've ridden. The cooling systems utilize precision oil or liquid cooled cylinder heads for better heat management. That's a cool perk, but more parts that go wrong. The charging system increased electrical output by 50% to accommodate modern powered accessories. So that's going to be your navigation, your Bluetooth, your whatever that big screen right there can handle, and your speakers, whatever. Clutch system. All models come standard with a low effort, assist, and slip clutch. The M8 engine is engineered for better fuel economy, faster acceleration, and enhanced rider comfort, all while maintaining the traditional 45-degree V-twin sound. Well, and that right there is not completely true, because a lot of these stock M8s, they sound like sewing machines or something. You have to change the exhaust. That's like the number one thing everyone does when they get a new M8, because they don't like the sound. They immediately change the pipes to like Reinhardt's or S&S or something like that. But that's all the good things with an M8. Let's look at the bad things. So with the M8, the years 2017 to 2019, not so much 19, but 17 and 18 did have severe problems. And not all of them, but enough to make it known that the 17s and 18s had some problems. So the M8 engine issues, the primary issues that they had were oil sumping issues. It's the most notorious M8 issue. Oil builds up in the crankcase instead of being scavenged back to the oil tank. This can lead to significant power loss, overheating, and potential engine failure, which is horrible. You're just riding down the road, your oil's not getting scavenged back to the oil tank. Next thing you know, you're pulled over wondering why your bike's overheating. So the next one is transmission oil migration. And I am reading this from the AI mode because I can't store this and talk about all of it. It would take forever. Some units experience fluid transfer where oil from the transmission moves into the primary chain case, often through the clutch push rod. Another one's overheating. Despite improved cooling, early models still faced overheating, sometimes caused by faulty or blocked radiators in liquid-cooled models or oil sumping related friction. Crankshaft issues. Misaligned or scissoring of the crankshaft have been reported at high speeds, which can lead to total engine breakdown. Yeah, if you have a crankshaft issue and it is misaligned, that can ruin your entire motor to the point where you need to buy a whole new motor. Because it's probably cheaper to buy a crate motor than to tear it all down and replace the crankshaft, get that lined up. Cold start problems and temperatures below 10 degrees Celsius. Well, we're in America. We don't do Celsius. I don't know what that is in Fahrenheit, but that's cold. Some engines have difficulty starting due to battery or oil viscosity issues, which that's not a huge issue. That sounds like the user would be able to fix it with a trickle charger or using a different weighted oil or something. Faulty cam chain tensioners. Now this is a big problem with those twin cams too, because those plastic tensioners would break and all that little plastic parts would get in the oil plate and all throughout the motor, clog everything up. Early plastic tensioners were known to wear prematurely, potentially leading to improper oil supply or engine failure. Now these are big problems that we're talking about. They're not like something that you can fix on the side of the road. These are like take it to a shop, or if you have the know-how, it's going to take hours to redo and fix. But here's the good news. Harley fixed most of these problems. They upgraded the oil pump. They introduced a major oil pump redesign in 2020 that largely eliminated sumping. Many owners of 2017 to 2019 models choose to install this newer pump as a preventive measure. Primary vent kit. To solve oil migration, Harley Davidson released a primary vent kit that relieves the pressure causing fluid transfer. Aftermarket support. Everyone knows there's a ton of aftermarket parts for Harley that you can go. This says many riders opt for high quality aftermarket components such as S&S cycle or fueling parts to replace factory oil pumps and cam plates for increased reliability. And that's probably the way I would go if I had a 17 or 18. I'd probably get an S&S high flow oil pump and install that thing with a cam plate. Now let's get into the bad things about an Evo, which is none, because I love the Evo motor. It's the best motor ever made by Harley. I'm just kidding. The Evos do have their problems, and I'll show you where those problems arise with this beautiful 4-barrel carb Evo here. So some of the models, see that base gasket there? Some of the models did experience base gasket leaks, and you just had to keep adding oil because they'd keep leaking unless you wanted to take your cylinders off and your heads and your rockers and all that stuff to replace your base gaskets, which you should. Gaskets now are great, and if you have a base gasket leak, it wouldn't take too much time to do it, and you should if you have a base gasket leak. All right, cylinder stud issues. On early models pre-1990, the cylinder studs were known to pull out of the aluminum engine cases, leading to head gasket failures and oil leaks. That's true, but they fixed that problem, and those gaskets aren't hard to replace either. Very minimal issues so far with the Evo, just a little bit of oil leak. Lifter failure. Evo lifters typically have a service life of about 50,000 miles. That's a lot of miles on a motorcycle. Well, when you're riding 50,000 miles, that's a lot. It's not for the machine. You know what I'm saying. If not replaced proactively, they can fail and send metal debris throughout the engine. Lifters, again, there's a ton of aftermarket lifters you can get to avoid this issue. But if that's happening at 50,000 miles, there's some stuff you probably need to replace anyway with those. All right, inner cam bearing. Later production years used a cheaper INA brand cage cam bearing instead of the preferred Torrington style. These were prone to premature failure, which could destroy the engine cases. Well, that's a pretty big issue, but most people with an Evo, well, I wouldn't say most, but a lot of people went to the EV27 cam anyway. And when you do that, you upgrade the cam bearing and you do all that. So I wouldn't say that's a huge issue. I haven't seen that issue personally in the shop. I don't think ever. Warped rocker boxes. The multi-piece rocker box covers were prone to warping over time, leading to persistent oil leaks, even after replacing gaskets. Again, just oil leak stuff. Nose cone ignition failure. Okay, I've dealt with this a couple times. Heat buildup in the nose cone area could cause the factory ignition modules to fail, particularly on models 1998 through 2003. So I have a 1998, and I'm having this issue. You'll see if you have an Evo, you'll see if yours is failing, because that ignition module will look like it's like leaking the back part of it through the wire hole on your nose cone. And if it is, it's probably time to replace it. All right, so here's the fixes. On those Evos, you got to warm them up. Due to the long head bolts and differing expansion rates of aluminum and steel, Google recommends letting an Evo warm up for several minutes before riding to prevent blowing gaskets. And I recommend that too. I always let mine warm up for probably 2-3 minutes, depending on the temperature. If it's colder out, like obviously you'd want it to warm up more. Upgrading gaskets to modern gaskets, all that kind of stuff. So far, the Evo doesn't have crazy issues other than the cam bearing, but you can, if you change the cam, you might as well change the bearing and upgrade that. Now let's compare the two. So if you want to know what is better, the Milwaukee 8 Harley Davidson motor or the Evolution, which everyone knows my opinion, you're going to have to decide what you want as a rider. Do you want the low vibration? Do you want the comfort of an M8, the power of an M8, the torque of an M8? But you might have to do some things with the 17s or 18s. Or if you buy a newer one, they fixed a lot of the issues and still have a fairly reliable motor. Or do you want the old school nostalgic look of an Evo and the unmatched reliability of an Evo, and your worst problem most likely being that you have a base gasket leak? It really depends on you. Which motor's better? I think they're both pretty good motors. Evo is just superior in reliability, and they're simple to work on. And if you do you like working on your motorcycles, like me and all of us here, that's probably the way to go, because you can fix most of your problems on the side of the road, or if you have basic tools, you can work on the Evo motor. In the M8, there's so much electronics and different things, like a lot of things you have to take it to a dealer to be able to fix, which I don't like personally. So in summary, the M8 is built for comfort, reduced vibration. It's got the technology, 4 valve heads, dual spark plugs, better fuel efficiency, heat management's a lot better. It's very good for long road trips, and it's got modern technology. But if you just like to cruise around, hang out, and have a very reliable motor, then maybe the Evo's better for you. Whatever I say is going to be completely different than what somebody else thinks. In my opinion, the Evolution wins every time. It's cited as the most reliable Harley motor that's ever been built, famous for its simplicity, and the sound of an Evolution motor is Harley. Like, that sound is Harley. The shovel head too, they sound great. But that sound, that's that iconic potato sound everyone wants out of their Harley. And they're known for going over 100,000 miles with basic maintenance. Doesn't have all the complex electronics. So yeah, I'd have to give this one to the Evo. I think everyone knew that. But let me know what you think. What motor do you like more? Do you like the reliability of an Evo? Do you like the power of an M8? Let me know. Just thought I'd come on here and discuss it. See ya.